Hey guys, this is Maverick from Musings&Review, and today we are going to be watching Maou-sama Retry Episode 3. So, last episode we were introduced to Luna, right? One of the three Holy Maidens, and a very important recurring character for the rest of the series. Now, I'll be honest, I wasn't that pleased with the last episode. I feel like they really didn't give enough screen time for the interactions between Luna and Mao, and, well, it basically just makes, if you're an anime-only viewer, you'll probably be very confused as to why Luna just suddenly agrees to, sort of tag along to Mao, if you will. I mentioned this already in last episode, but just to quickly recap, in the mangas and the light novels, Luna and Mao have a lot more dialogue, a lot more interactions, and Luna especially is a lot more self-conceited, if you will. A lot more selfish, a lot more arrogant. And so that's why the Mao decided to discipline her. And it was through this, and also through their later subsequent interactions, that Luna thought, okay, this Mao character is pretty interesting, and so she wants to tag along and learn more about this character, right? But anyways, so that was that, one dud. Okay, fine. This is episode 3 now, and by all means, they should be introducing a lot more characters as well. I expect at least 3 or 4 different characters to appear this episode, and they're all pretty damn unique in their own way, crazy in their own way, so hopefully they will be able to capture the essence of the new characters in this episode. So, without further ado, let's just see what happens. Alrighty, let's begin in 3, 2, 1, play. Come on, don't suck. I really want to love you. Okay, some fan service first. Like, I feel like they're just making her into sort of like the token tsundere character. I mean, don't get me wrong, she is a token tsundere character, but a little bit even more, let's see, annoyingly adorable in a way. Alright, but hold that thought. Right. So if you haven't guessed by now, the Mao has some sort of infinity storage system. Wow. About that. And yes, this is a holy maiden. By the way, this translation is actually pretty accurate. She is a character. Alright, let me skip this real quick. And back. And this song is quite catchy once you listen to it a few times. And now he is in businessman mode. It's part of, like, a side endeavor of his. One gold coin. You know, and speaking of this, actually, even though I've seen this before, I still don't quite get, like, what this world's perception of a Maou-sama is. Are they... I feel like, anyways, as I was saying, a lot of people just, as the shop owner, thinks he's just some kind of royalty and whatnot, and so the Maou-sama, you know, monk here is sort of just a, you know, just a sort of personality or something. They don't really believe that he's the Maou-sama. uh... If you haven't guessed already, this second Holy Maiden is anything but holy. I feel like this is a situation where it's so bad it's good. Oh my god, the enemy. Man, oh my god, the animation is just so bad. Like I said, it's a so bad it's good type of situation. Holy crap. Now this is actually a hint to his personality, and it ties in with the other worlds, like that line right there. uh, Here it comes. Thank you. uh, if you guys haven't guessed by now, he's a Mao. Spoiler alert. Okay, they actually made an attempt at animating this. Okay. In case it isn't entirely obvious right now, this entire character is sort of a trope. Right? He's like the literal personification of being a chuny. Oh, he knows him very well. Very, very well. I'll explain a little bit more at the end of the episode. Ah, here we go. This girl as well. And these two are all. Man, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but. Oh, well, okay, fine. They already said it is. Girlish boy. So, they mean that name literally, okay? And yes, she did mean what she meant. Ah. uh, all right, all right. Oh, I actually see some pretty interesting names on the save list. I'll talk about that. Actually, I'll go back and look at that again. But I'll see you guys after the ending. Alrighty, so that was episode 3, and I guess it made some strides in compared to episode 2, although part of it might be due to the fact that the characters here don't need that much explanation anyways, at least compared to Luna. So, let's talk through them, right? First of all, let's talk about the Killer Queen, the second Holy Maiden that we have been introduced to. So, if it wasn't obvious, that is her character, right? She is this loudmouthed, foul-mouthed, very arrogant, very quick-tempered girl, if you will, and that uses violence to solve everything. And really, I guess you could say that her character archetype is based on sort of like the delinquent girls, the sukebans of Japanese culture. It's not quite one-to-one, but I feel like that's probably what the author was sort of going for, right? It's not like, you know, and speaking with this kind of foul mouth and whatnot, even though she doesn't exactly have the mannerisms like the of an actual girl gang or a member of a girl gang, she is most probably based on some type of characteristics taken from that. And so, I mean, we can already see from the beginning of the episodes, right, where she basically, you know, she's very strong herself, and so she just is able to solve everything by herself, and well, she just takes no shit from anyone, right? And so the funny thing about her character is the gap between her being this very, you know, no nonsense, very foul mouthed gorilla of a woman, if you will, and then becoming this very timid, very meek lady when as she is infatuated with Zero, right? And that gap in her character is part of what makes her so fun to watch. And okay, so speaking of Zero, so maybe I should explain about that one as well. So as is explained, Zero is Maou-sama himself, right? So what happened here was the backstory behind this character is, if you guys remember, the entire setting of this is a sort of like game admin, game programmer being sucked into a game world, right? So as this original person in the real world was doing some testing on the game, he needed to create a character to test out some things, right? And so he created a joke, sort of joke character, if you will, and that turned out to be Zero. And the reason that Zero is a joke character, I guess, I don't think this is one part that I feel like they didn't completely capture within the anime. So basically, his entire character is a trope, right? I mean, well, you can see parts of the trope, you know, with having the dragon on his back and the way that he talks, the way that he's dressed, you know, having this sort of overcoat draping over him, and then a bare upper body, and then fighting with his fists and whatnot, and then calling himself the unrivaled, you know, it's sort of like the invincible, like the unbeaten, you know, that kind of character. It's really just something that a chuuni would think of, and a chuuni would be someone in middle school who, you know, has all these sorts of power fantasies and whatnot, and so that is what this entire character is based on, and so that's why it's a joke character, because the game admin, you know, the main character who created this character, in-game character, when he was creating it, was already, you know, out in the workforce and whatnot, right? So that is why this is a joke character. And so again, like delinquent, hard-boiled, and whatnot, and so that's probably why it fits with the Killer Queen so well, because she's attracted to this essentially coming from the same sort of archetype, if you will. And by the way, the Mao does, as we can see here, very much regret creating this character, because, you know, he thinks it's embarrassing, right? Nobody talks like that. Nobody wants a character that is stylized like that, because it's just, you know, we're not 13 anymore, right? We're not 14 anymore. Oh, and I should probably explain why that thing happened, right? So the anime sort of like just quickly skimmed over this part. So the ring, which the Mao got in the first episode, apparently it has a sort of conscience of its own. My theory of this is that it's sort of like the inner dark desires of the main character, if you will. So basically during that scene, it was just because the Mao didn't really want to intervene and make the entire situation even more complicated, but the ring was telling him to, no, just go in, just kill everybody, and then everything will be solved, right? You can kill both sides at the same time, you know, remove all obstacles, and then you can take over the world. So the Mao was actively trying to fight back against the influence from the ring, and the ring was trying to take over his body, and so that's why he eventually collapsed, was unable to move. And since the Hades thingy, the magic or whatnot was coming up to him, he could only choose to change character to get himself out of that situation, right? But as we can see there, this is non-controllable. So Mao is actually not in control of what Zero, the character, does. However, he is actually conscious and knows what Zero does, even though he can't control anything about it. So that's why he also knows what is actually happening. So just to quickly give you guys some supplement info on that part. And then also, finally, we are introduced to two new characters. Yukikaze and Mikan, right? And I feel like, you know, even though it was rather short, I feel like their personality should be also fairly obvious just from this few scenes. Mikan, even though she has an, you know, absolutely big personalities, if you will, an absolutely smoking hot figure, she is a very serious type of adventure, right? No nonsense, just get things done, very cautious and whatnot. Whereas the other member, Yukikaze, they already said it here, right? So basically, he is a trap. He's dressed like a girl, he acts like a girl, but he's actually a guy. And he is probably the single most perverted and seductive character within this series that I've seen so far. Like, I think you can see some hints of it just by how he first appeared, you know, with the icicle and whatnot, and then also when he was asking about the Demon Lord, right? Is his thing also a Demon Lord? You can get some hints of his characterization, and again, he is absolutely hilarious. Especially here, I think it's a little bit harder to get it, but in the manga, he is really drawn very beautifully, and as I said, he's the single most seductive character in this series, right? So it makes for some pretty, I know, I just feel funny for it, because everybody knows that he's actually a guy, but, you know, because he is so beautiful and pretty and whatnot, and so anyways, the whole situation is just hilarious a lot of the times. So yeah, those were most of the yeah, that pretty much covers all the characters, at least the important characters, that we were introduced to in this episode. And indeed, what happens next is that Mao, along with Luna, they travel to the Holy City, and also along with Aku, they travel to the Holy City, where, you know, eventually Mao sets up shop and does all the various other things, right? We're also given some hints of that within this episode, where Mao went to start selling some stuff. He is interested in operating businesses, which we will get to later on, as well as it's also hinted at, right, by actually the scene with the ring, how you know, just do what you always do, right? Just use the excuse that you always excuse in the name of self-defense, right? So as I said, that is actually a hint. I'm not going to spoil too much, but I'll just say that it's sort of related with the ending song, right? And the scenery, the scenes that we've seen within the ending song. So again, I've said this before, but the ending song, you know, the scenes within it, even though it's completely different from fantasy, don't think of it as just an artistic direction of the, you know, of the accompanying animation to the ending song, right? It actually serves a purpose. That is actually true to this series. So anyways, that's all I'll say for now, in case I spoil anything further. So anyways, I think at least in terms of the characters, I was a bit more satisfied with this episode. Well, okay, so the animation is still absolutely shit, right? So, I mean, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It is bad. It is very bad. I feel like maybe even last season Shometsu Toshi, even as bad as that was, might be a little bit better than this one. It's so bad that, honestly, I think it's a meme at this point, especially the action scenes. But, again, as I said before, really, I mean, as long as the comedy, as long as the humor is there, I still feel like I can get through this anime no problem. And so at least here, I feel like they are more or less similar to how the characters should be, right? Again, some of the interactions are cut a little bit short, like I wish they would have focused on the Killer Queen a little bit more, shown her personality a little bit more, just as I would have liked for Luna and Mao to have a little bit longer conversations because Luna is an important companion, so that's why I felt like they probably should have established her character and why she's following the Mao a little bit more, but hey, it is what it is. So anyways, that's been episode 3. I'll see you guys next week as well. Hopefully the series will only go up from here. So let me know what you guys think of it. Do you think this is crazy enough, not crazy enough, or do you think this is absolutely ridiculous? Or are you still like, meh, next one, right? Let me know. So until next time, this is Maverick signing off. Bye bye.